Ghana's envoys abroad charged to solicit for support to jog the economy post-COVID.
Inoculation of Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccines in hotspots in Greater Accra and Ashanti regions ends with some running out.
AMA to crack the whip on anyone who flouts COVID-19 safety protocols.
And Kenya's High Court rules that President Kenyatta's move on constitutional reforms is illegal. This is news coming to you live on GBC News and GTV. Good evening, Siyoko Kwakutre.
Good evening, I am Shirley and Robert Frimpong Manso translates the news into sign language.
The news headlines is sponsored by Manchi Biscuits, Munch into happiness, and we start the local news segment with some health stories.
The health segment is brought to you by Ernest Chemist. It's the last day of the Health Ministry's scheduled inoculation of the Johnson & Johnson jabs. GBC News went round some centers in Accra and reports that some centers had run out of the vaccines since Wednesday.
In other locations, there were long queues with people still trying all they could do to get vaccinated.
In all, 7 districts administered the Johnson & Johnson vaccines in Accra. Generally, most of the centers visited had already run out of the vaccine before Friday. At the La Paz Community Hospital within the Okankwe North District, the situation was chaotic as the vaccines were running out. Some people said they were asked on Wednesday to come on Friday and were still in queues as at 10:30 a.m. According to the supervisor at the center, Mr. Arnold Nomenyon, it is likely most of the people in the queue will go home without the jab because the vaccines are inadequate.
People are crowded. I don't think, from what I'm seeing, I don't think everyone will be able to get the jab.
It's a queue. You have to follow the queue, and when it's your turn, you'll be called to come for the vaccine.
Yeah, I came yesterday morning. I spent like half the day here. I didn't get it, so I had to come back this morning. I was initially scared. I didn't want to come, but I think it's worth it.
In the Gas South District, there was no vaccination exercise at both the Finney Hospital and the West Hills Mall centers because the vaccines had run out since Wednesday. The story was the same at the Bano Memorial Hospital and the PPAG Family Health Clinic centers, all within the Abikma Central District.
The information we had from the public health team or the vaccination team from our district health directorate is that they've run out of the J&J vaccine, which is the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. So from next week, new doses of the AstraZeneca, which had arrived in the country, will also be rolled out.
Mamprobi Hospital is one of the vaccination centers in Accra. It was rather calm, even though there were a lot of people still waiting to receive their jab as at 1 p.m. The Ablekuma South Sub-Metro Health Director, Dr. Charlotte Alberta Keito, said her team is hoping to get supplementary vaccines from nearby districts to cater for those already in the queue.
In the morning, there were more people here than the additional doses we were able to secure. So it was a bit chaotic, but we were able to calm nerves and reassure people that hopefully by the end of next week, more vaccines will come in.
Asha Clinic is one of the collection points within the Accra Metro. When our news team got there, they had run out of their vaccine allocation. One of the officials here was trying to calm down an old man who was disappointed that he could not get his jab. This man said he was asked earlier to go home and come back later in the day since his pressure was high when he first arrived. He was therefore devastated to be told they had run out when he came back the second time. Though most people in the queue at the centers were aware that they would not be vaccinated today, they still hung around, hoping to get vaccinated by close of the day. Rachel Quarty, GBC News, Accra.
The inoculation of the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccines in hotspots of selected districts of the Greater Accra and Ashanti regions has ended. Ghana received the Johnson & Johnson vaccines last month under the African Union's African Vaccine Acquisition Trust Initiative. A total of 177,600 doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccines are expected to be administered. In an interview with the program manager on expanded program on immunization of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Amponsa Chianu, he said they were only limited by the availability of vaccines and had to prioritize who had to be vaccinated.
Also recall that when the vaccines arrived, we put across as to how many doses we had received. A lot of things go on behind the scenes. So one of them was the fact that you needed to plan as to where and when you are going to deliver. You also plan for cold chain. If how you're going to maintain the cold chain, you need to plan for training. You need also to plan for social mobilization. So all these things are done before any vaccination exercise takes place. And that is exactly what we did. But we, as I keep on saying, we're only limited by the availability of vaccines. And when we looked at our data, again, we segregated and gave them firm instructions that they should prioritize persons who are most vulnerable, that's the elderly, and of course people with underlying conditions.
And at Kumasi in the Ashanti region, the vaccination exercise ended on Wednesday, October 18, 2021, ahead of Friday's deadline. The Ashanti Regional Deputy Director of Public Health, Dr. Michael Roxy-Najee, attributed the early wrap-up of the exercise to the overwhelming numbers of people who turned out to receive their jabs and the limited stocks of the vaccines.
We have even other vaccines that people are supposed to come for, but they are not coming. Let me put on record that Sputnik V. The second dose, we have over 1,000 doses left. And the persons that these vaccines have been earmarked for are not coming. So why is it that they rushed for J&J? Maybe because of the convenience J&J offers. It's a single dose. And people prefer that to probably the double dose. And the reason is that when we had the COVID shield, those who had the first dose, some are even yet to have the second dose. So the fact that you have, if you have to take a vaccine that is 2 doses, they feel they can be assured of the second dose. But this J&J being a single dose, once you get it, that is all. So that is partly one of the reasons for the clamor we saw or we've seen in the past few days. But for us, it's a learning curve for us that we need to also improve communication around the other.
Still in news, as part of efforts to curb the spread of COVID-19 in the Greater Accra region, the Regional Coordinating Council has called on all MMDCEs to enforce strict adherence to the protocols, especially the wearing of nose masks at all public places. The head of public affairs at the Accra Metropolitan Assembly AMA, Mr. Gilbert Niankra, in an interview with GBC News, said soon punitive measures will be meted out to those who flout the directives.
As an assembly, I can also say that when we meet people who are not able to afford these masks, we will have some stocks and would give it out to them. I can assure you on that. But the main focus is to ensure that we educate public sector for people to really understand the need for adhere to the protocols, not only put it on the impact and all that.
Still in more health stories, the Volta Regional Public Health Emergency Response Committee has reinforced its response mechanisms in a bid to combat a recent upsurge of COVID-19 infections in the region. The region has recorded 20 COVID-19 related deaths within the last 2 weeks and has had spikes in infection. The Volta Regional Deputy Director of Health in charge of Public Health, Dr. Senanu Jokoto, says intensive care units of health facilities and COVID-19 treatment centers in the region are getting full.
Statistics available at the Volta Regional Directorate of Ghana Health Service indicate that cumulatively the region has recorded 3,971 COVID-19 infections since the coronavirus was first recorded Out of the number of infections, the region has recorded 50 cumulative deaths related to COVID-19, 20 of which occurred within the last 2 weeks. Ho, Hohoi, Pando and Ketu North municipalities and South Tong districts have been designated as the hotspot. GBC News checks indicated that apart from corporate organizations such as banks and some health facilities where personnel are stationed at the entry points to ensure clients and patients observe the safety protocols, other public places are the opposite. When GBC News visited the whole central market, for instance, most buyers and sellers embarked on their activities without wearing nose masks or practicing social distance. The Deputy Volta Regional Director of Health in charge of Public Health, Dr. Senanu Jokoto, attributed the upsurge in COVID-19 in the region to non-compliance to safety protocols at public places and gatherings. Dr. Jokoto noted that infections among health workers have stabilized. He disclosed that the Regional Public Health Emergency Response Committee has taken measures to bring the spread of the virus in schools under control.
In as much as we try to prevent it, we go in and then we educate the students, we speak to the parents, we assess the risk, we manage the cases, we treat those we have to treat, isolate those we have to isolate, and quarantine those we have to quarantine. And all these are done with very minimal interruption.
Some vendors at the whole central market expressed worry about non-adherence to the safety protocols at the market and urged government to extend the deployment of vaccines to market centers for traders to benefit.
Away from the health segment, 13 envoys have been assigned to represent Ghana abroad with an additional task to mobilize more foreign investment in support of Ghana's post-COVID recovery agenda. President Akufo-Addo gave them their instrument of office at the Jubilee House in Accra, also tasked the diplomats to work with their governments of accreditation to achieve the common agenda in a fight against armed conflicts, terrorism and extreme violence and illicit flow of funds from Africa.
At the brief ceremony at the Jubilee House, President Akufo-Addo administered 3 oaths: allegiance, secrecy and office to the diplomats.
Or as may be specially predicted by law. So help me God. So help me God.
The president congratulated them on their appointments, coming at a time the world has geared up to revive their economies after taking a hit from the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. President Akufo-Addo asked the diplomats to strengthen ties of cooperation and bonds of friendship with their respective countries of accreditation. He said the recent launch of the Obatampa Care program represents the country's path towards revitalizing Ghana's economy and that they must familiarize themselves with the objectives of the program. With Ghana's admirable image across the globe, the president urged them to continue to guard it with their all.
We're regarded as a beacon of democracy in Africa. You are the most visible symbol of our country out there. And in all your actions, you must guard jealously our country's image.
The president again tasked them to bring foreign investments into the country to shore up the economy in the face of the coronavirus pandemic.
Part of your responsibilities at the multilateral level is to work with the governments of your accreditation to assist in the prosecution of our common agenda in the fight against the scourge of armed conflicts, terrorism, and violent extremism, the threats of climate change, and the continuing illicit flow of funds from Africa.
Dr. Neo Kai Hammond, who will represent Ghana in China on behalf of his colleagues, promised to hit the ground running for the desired results.
We are therefore confident that despite the pandemic, we as your envoys will continue to build personal relationships and trust, smell the winds of change, and be the first ones to identify risks and opportunities, speak up for our country's interests, and use our good offices to broker solutions to difficult problems.
The swearing in and presentation of the letters of credence to the 13 commissioners, ambassadors and deputy ambassadors brings the number of envoys accredited so far in the second term of President Akufo-Addo's administration to 34.
Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is calling on all allied security agencies in the country and Africa to collaborate in the fight to stem the increasing activities of pirates in the country's territorial waters. At the Ghana Armed Forces Command and Staff College graduation in Accra, Dr. Bawumia said terrorism and piracy are a major security threat in Africa, which will require collaboration at all levels and among respective countries to successfully clamp down on it.
It is the duty of the Ghana Armed Forces Command and Staff College to train its officers and allied officers in Africa in command and staff responsibilities. Due to its professional training, the college is now preferred military training college in Africa. At the 2020-2021 course 42 senior command and staff course graduation ceremony, 81 officers graduated. 60 of them are from the Ghana Armed Forces, with the rest from other African countries: the Gambia, Liberia, Benin, Sierra Leone, Nigeria, Tanzania, La Côte d'Ivoire and Togo. With the completion of the program, they have earned the Command's Pass Staff course. In the Master of Science in Defense and International Politics program, 21 regular students also graduated with their respective degrees. Some were drawn from the Education Service, Ministry of Information, Electoral Commission, National Security Council, and other private institutions. The Commandant of the College, Rear Admiral Moses Beck Balfour, so the college will continue to give quality training for personnel to play a key role in the country. He appealed for experts' action on the college's charter.
In conformity with new directives from the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, the college has between now and 2026 to get its charter to become autonomous. Failing that, the academic division of the college will become a faculty of the mentoring institution, in this case, GIMPA. If this happens, the integrated program of the college will be seriously undermined. However, in order to sustain the gains made so far, efforts are underway to ensure the charter is obtained before the deadline. While working towards the grant of the charter, the college is taking steps towards the introduction of a Master of Science degree in Security Studies, as well as a PhD program in Defense and International Politics.
The Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, challenged the various security agencies to work together to counter threats of piracy and terrorism.
As you are already aware, terrorism and piracy have become major security threats in Africa, and it will require collaboration at all levels and among our respective countries to completely eradicate it. This course has given you an excellent platform to share knowledge and experience in the fight against these emerging and pervasive threats. We at the strategic policy level will do all we can, but you are the professional with the requisite skills and knowledge. I therefore charge you to work together with a common purpose as comrades confronting a common enemy.
The overall Best Graduate Award in the Master of Science in Defense and International Politics class of 2021 went to Boachi Dankwa. The overall Best Award of the Senior Command and Staff Course 42 class of 2021 was Major Peter Frey of the Ghana Army. Dr. Bawumia also launched the African Journal of Defense, Security and Strategy, compiled and edited by the Ghana Armed Forces Command and Staff College.
Other copies will be made available for sale.
In the northern region of Ghana lies the metropolitan area of Tamale. Though it is considered the third largest growing city in West Africa, it still feels authentic and alive with traditional culture. The central market is a maze of stands selling almost everything from tubers of yam to grains of millet to cowhide and many more.
Nothing prepares you for the much talked about central market in Tamale. Once you enter Tamale, one of northern Ghana's most famed towns, the much talked about interchange, which is currently still under construction, takes you to the peaceful but noisy central market where barter and trade have taken place for many years. This is the heartbeat of the economy of the north of Ghana. Characteristic of many markets in big cities across the country, traders have taken over the pavements on the main streets. Once you make your way into the main market, the stalls welcome you with a variety of products and produce. And in the midst of the colorful din, there seems to be every single thing that ever was born or made. This market particularly serves other neighboring countries such as Togo, Burkina Faso and Mali and even beyond. The Tamale Central Market has also gained popularity in Ghana and across other West Africa countries as an accessible market for all kinds of imports, including electronics and household items.
The major problem we have has to do with those traders who have taken over the pavement. They prevent buyers from coming inside the market. This market is a savior for many of us. We feed our families from the proceeds we make here.
The chief of Tamale holds the skin title Dakpema. There are some residents in this town who erroneously believe that the title means that the Dakpema is the owner of the market. We went to the Tamale chief's palace to find out from him if there is any link between the Dakpema and the Tamale market. The chief nominated his entertainment chief, the Diamana Adam Musa, to speak on his behalf.
The Chema does not mean market chief. The Chema means the head of the family. That's the young Chema. He leads the head of the family. Not only responsible for the market in Tamale, he's responsible of all land in Tamale. So any place you see market, that is within his jurisdiction. That means the market is under him.
It is believed that for traders to prosper in this market, they must make an annual contribution to the Dakpema for sacrifices to be made to the gods.
We are being taxed to pay rent every year for about an amount, which we don't even see the use of that particular money. There are gods in the market. We have plenty of gods in the market. So every year he have a specific day that he will go inside the market and pour libations or do some sacrifices so that the market people business will boom up.
Traffic congestion is a major phenomenon in most Ghanaian cities, especially in market centers, resulting in massive delays, a decrease in productivity and reduction in sales. The Tamale Central Market has gradually introduced traffic congestion with its attendant repercussions in Tamale. For the people, the sooner a solution is found, the better it will be for the many traders here. Abdul Mumin, GBC News, Tamale.
The Council of State has presented its findings on a petition filed by the Alliance for Social Equity and Public Accountability (ASEPA) for the removal of the Chief Justice to President Akufo-Addo. The council was to find whether a prima facie case has been found or not against the Chief Justice before a full-blown investigation can be initiated. At a brief ceremony at the banquet hall of the Jubilee House, Chairman of the Council of State, Nana Oto-Sribo, presented a confidential report to the President. ASEPA is calling for the removal of the Chief Justice Kwesi Yeboah, over his alleged role in the 5 million bribery allegation.
In line with the demands of the Constitution as enshrined under Article 146123, and in line with the decisions of the Supreme Court, Mr. President, you are obliged to determine whether a prima facie case had been made, which determination would therefore precede the process of impeachment. In line with the performance of your constitutional duty, you sent this letter to us. We have looked at the petition together with the annexes and the documents that were presented with the petition, and also the principles of the case law as enunciated in the case of Ajay versus the Republic, which judgment was of the Supreme Court was given by Justice Databan. Mr. President, the Council of State has made its findings, and we are here, Mr. President, to present to you the findings of the Council of State as to whether a prima facie case had been made to warrant the start of an impeachment process for the removal of the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana.
Understand that the process of the impeachment of the Chief Justice, indeed, of justices of the Supreme Court, are meant to be in-camera proceedings, so that the contents of the consultation between the two of us, your side is in the letter and my own is also there, will for the time being remain confidential until we're in a position to announce the result of it to the world. And they will remain so until the final communication. But I will apprise you also of my own findings, as it were, on the matter. I'm hoping that our minds, there'll be a meeting of minds, and then my consultation will establish that there is unanimity between you and me on this matter before we can go forward.
We move to the Upper East region, where over 40 houses are either submerged or are on the verge of being swallowed by floodwaters, while hundreds of hectares of farmland in Garu, Timpani and Pusika districts of the Kusang traditional area in the Upper East region are completely inundated. This follows a surge in the Tamni irrigation dam due to the release of water from its 8 major tributaries and confluents.
The construction of the Tamni irrigation dam started during the tenure of former President John Mahama. The irrigation scheme, which is still under construction, is expected to supply water to 3,250 acres of land. Over 5,000 indirect and direct jobs are also expected to be created. The contractor on the dam is Munisco Limited, supervised by EA Kamevo Rosap Limited, funded by the Export Development and Agricultural Investment Fund (EDIF) and Government of Ghana. Several hectares of farmlands with cash crops, rose, economic trees, among others, have been completely destroyed. The affected communities include Gagbiri, Zambala, Bugri, Gago, Kugzua, Gela Kolok, Napadi, Arazim, Kolsablek, Zuli, and Kugri, among others. Farmers who spoke with GBC News blamed the contractors and the engineers for no proper consultation before the beginning of the project. An assembly member for the Zambala electoral area, Mr. Tairu Rahman Yona, told GBC News that apart from the farmlands that have been submerged by flood waters, some residents in the area are now homeless.
They can't find a place to sleep, neither do we talk of foodstuffs. As you can see, the rain here and the dump here, it has taken over a lot of crops here. And these people don't know what to do, how they are going to live, what they are going to eat after this rainy season. In fact, there's something that is worrying.
Mr. Adam Abdu, who is also a resident of the area, said major roads that link Garu, Gagbiri, Bugri, Basionde, and the neighboring town of Sinkansi in Togo have been flooded and cut off.
It is not going to take all houses. It is going to cover some communities that we cannot even estimate. So we are feeling very, very bad, because if they had listened to us at the initial stage, we think these problems would have by now have solved.
Another resident of the area, Mr. Yakubu, told GBC News that schools and health centers in the area have been affected by the floods.
This is my maize farm. They finished the dam. They didn't indicate to us that this is the level of the water. So we asked them, and they say, oh, we can farm, because the water will take only inside the valley. It will not come top. So as of now, we don't even know where the water will reach.
The displaced residents of the area are sending an SOS to the government for assistance.